Welcome back to Business AM. Now, right off the bat, I had promised you a very exciting show, and I'm trying to, as much as possible, live up to this. Right here with me in studio, my next guest is Jaco van Delden, who's the Managing Director of Orange Climate Waterloo. He's going to tell us everything we need to know about Orange Climate Waterloo, just in case you're hearing about this for the first time. You're very welcome to the show, Jaco.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
So, Orange Climate Waterloo. For our audience out there that might not know, I mean, the word climate in there might be somewhat a giveaway, but to give us the full information, what do you do?
Yes, well, we're a Dutch company. That's why the name Orange is in the name. Orange is our company or local country color. And climate is what we do. So we are a manufacturer. We have several factories and we produce all kinds of products that has to do with climate and especially indoor climate. So we produce the standard products like air handling units or ducting or grills, you know, the things you see in every building. But we also have big programs for schools where we measure the CO2 in the room and then we can adjust the amount of air so that the students can learn better. So sustainability and clean, fresh air is what we do. We provide
So what are some of the problems that your solutions or your products address? Because someone, when you say inner climate, when you say CO2, someone out there it might be foreign and they might not understand. So I want you to explain to us, this is the problem and this is the solution that we offer as Orange Climate Waterloo.
Yes, well, in general, we always try to look at buildings and then we give an advice how to improve the indoor air quality. We do that a lot for hospitals as well. Because you can imagine that if sick people are laying in one room and they cough all the time, then the air leaves that room. If that coughed air comes in the next room, then you better not stay in a hospital. Yeah. So all kinds of things are happening above the ceiling. Air is being filtered, etc. And that makes it a better air situation. But you need technical details to do that in a building. And it's quite complicated. So that's why we came up with a totally new solution. And that's what we call PCM, and that's amazing. We have been testing it for a long time now, and it's really helping people. So that's basically why we're also in Kenya for that specific solution. Yes.
I'm so glad you talked about PCM because it was going to be my next question.
Okay.
I want you to talk to us about PCM, what it's going to achieve, and why you came up with this solution.
Yes. Well, our president, the owner of our company, Mr. Van Dorp. It's his own personal belief that we should leave the earth behind in a better shape than when we entered it. And of course we cannot solve all the issues in the whole world ourselves, but you can start with yourself. So he has a big company now. He started the company 30 years ago, and now we have 1,600 employees. And sustainability is what he's teaching us. And for 10 years he's been working on a solution to cool and heat rooms without using energy or without using a lot of energy. And that's a big challenge because it means that people who have no access to the power of the grid, or where the power is very unstable, or where you can trust it, is going off all the time, or when it's expensive, now have an option to cool and heat their areas. So for 10 years he's like an inventor, and it's his big thing. He has a big company, but this was his personal goal. I want to find a solution for people to have cool and hot air in the room. And at the end we invented it, and it's quite amazing. It looks like if you go for a picnic, you have a cool box, and then you put those elements in there with water, you freeze it to ice to keep your stuff cold. Well, the PCM is water with sea salt and something secret that we cannot tell, of course, otherwise the whole business proposal is gone. But those elements, we have found a way to freeze the water when the temperature is below 23 degrees. So not below 0, but below 23 degrees.
So now we're going to speak a bit more about PCM.
Yeah.
However, you talked about an aspect that's very, very important and a lot of people are talking about, and a lot of countries, companies, organizations are trying to head that way. which is, in your own words, sustainability, sustainability, sustainability.
Yeah.
Why is sustainability so important, and why are solutions that are geared towards sustainability on the rise right now? And if we don't go this way, like, what's the impact? Why are we seeing a very heavy conversation around sustainability right now, and what are the benefits?
Yeah, well, the thing is that there are people who say, all that talk about sustainability and climate change, it's pure nonsense.
Right.
It's not. It's definitely not. There are a lot of investigations going on and a lot of things happening that shows us that the Earth is changing very rapidly. If you also look at how the population is growing, then it's only 1 + 1 is 2, that there will be a bigger problem in 10 or 20 years. For instance, Kenya. We did some desk research last year. It turned out there were 43 million people in Kenya. I understood there was a counting last month. Now there are 56 million, so that was a big change. But in 10 years, in Kenya, there will be more than 100 million people.
Right.
And those people need to eat, they need to heat, they need to have gas, they need to transport themselves.
They need to survive.
They need to survive. And I think people should take it more seriously, that it's really helping if everybody tries to do a little bit. Because they say, yeah, what can I do? I'm one person.
Right.
And our owner, Mr. Van Dorp, always says, yes, but one person can make a big difference in your children's life or your grandchildren's life. So that's why as a company we have a strong belief, if there is anything we can do, we need to do it. So we do it in ways of how to produce our products. It's sustainable. We look at it. We have solar energy to give power to our plants, our factories. But now we also have invented a new product. It's unique in the world. And it's helping people. And so that's why it's our part that we do to do something. And I think it's very important that people don't forget it's real. And maybe it's not real for us now, not today. Nothing feels different than yesterday.
Right.
But for your grandchildren, it will be a lot different.
Now let's go back to PCM. You mentioned that it's a product that helps heat and cool rooms energy free.
Yeah.
I see how that can be a big hit in Kenya.
Yeah.
With the high costs of energy, with the lack of energy access in some parts of the country. However, my question is, has this product been launched anywhere else? Is Kenya the pilot project? Where has it been implemented and it has worked? And what lessons can Kenya draw from experiences of maybe other areas or locations where you've tried it out?
Yeah, so 10 years ago it's been invented. Then after the invention for 5 years we had all kinds of trouble with leaking and all kinds of things. That has been solved, and now in the Netherlands we are doing big projects. That means like banks, they have the whole building filled with PCM instead of a traditional air handling unit. The World Trade Center in Amsterdam has also bought it. All kinds of offices, buildings, so mainly companies who are buying it at the moment because they use it for their whole building. They still do need some electricity because the PCM must be cooled. So the temperature has to be below 23 degrees for 10 hours to freeze the elements. And I did not explain that before, but what we do is we usually put it on top of the ceiling. So we put their aluminium ceiling tiles, perforated, so the whole ceiling is one big grill, air can go through it, and we just put the PCM on top of it, and then when it freezes, the whole ceiling is frozen in the morning. So in Kenya, especially in Kenya, in the nights it's usually below 23 degrees. That's why we focus on Kenya first, because the biggest savings are in this area. Because what you need in this situation, if you're living outside the town and you don't have access to power, or it's expensive or unstable, you just make a hole outside, you put one solar panel on the outside, and that solar panel gives enough power to power one little fan. And that fan will bring in the air during the night between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. And that's how fresh air and cold air will cool that specific room. Then in the morning, when it starts getting more warm, you stop the fan, so the air will stay outside, because now the air is getting more warm than inside. So then the people come in the room. I'm talking about offices or a doctor's place or those shop.
Right.
So people come in. That means the heat air goes up. Air always goes up, warm air, and then it bumps into the ceiling, and then the ice is absorbing the heat, just like an ice cube in your Coca-Cola, and it gives back cool air for 10 hours. So in the Netherlands, many people use it together with the traditional system, but they use it as a security. For instance, hospitals in the Netherlands, for the surgery rooms, they have PCM, because when the power goes down, you can continue your surgery. You don't have to stop, there's no panic, because for 10 hours there will be cool air. And also data centers also use it, because if the power goes down and it gets warm, then you have a huge problem.
Right.
So what we do in Kenya is, why in Kenya the night temperature is so low that it's almost free of cost to load the battery. We call those element batteries, terminal batteries. And that's why it's great. What's funny is that during that whole process, because we're testing it now in some locations, like the Hilton Hotel, the Sarova Hotel, the Dutch Embassy, of course, I'm from the Netherlands.
Of course.
Can Invest. So we're testing it at a couple of locations. And then it turned out that it's also cold in Kenya. Of course, as a white guy, I think Africa, always warm.
Right, but by the time you say it's cold in Kenya,
it's cold in Kenya.
It should be cold.
Yes, it's really cold.
Right.
And that's when we found out that the PCM is also a good solution for that part, because you don't have normal heating.
Right.
And the PCM works also the other way around. So when the ceiling is frozen, then it will give warm air or cold air to the room. But when it's colder in the room than upstairs, then it will turn around the system, so then it's heating. Basically what it means is, with PCM, when you have PCM in your room, it will also always be 22, 23 degrees the whole year, in the summer, in the winter.
Perfect, conducive weather.
Yes, yeah.
Finally, looking at the economic impact, what sort of value would you say PCM will add to Kenya's economy, and also for a company, an organization, an enterprise that might be interested in bringing such a solution on board? Where can we get this?
Yeah.
How do we find it?
Yeah. The last question, go to orangeclimate.com, and there are all the details. So orangeclimate.com, and that's where you can find more information as well. We are testing it now. We will launch it next year. The test results are successful. We have to make some adjustments, and then we think it's ready for sale.
Right.
So how the economy of Kenya will
the value adds to the
exactly. Well, we are manufacturers, so we don't install the products. So what we need, we are talking to local partners, and they can install this solution. That means that there's more laborers needed to do that. So that's economical interesting. There are more people will have work. But don't forget, if we are able to get a normal climate in a room, the productivity of all people will go up. Because when it's very hot, people work slower, they're tired, it's a problem. So when companies have a good environment with a stable temperature, their people will be more productive. So that's also good for the economy.
Right.
The same way, if it's too cold, also people will sit in a corner like I'm cold instead of working. So that's good as well. And Kenya is the entry market, so what we hope is that we find distributors who will start selling it to other countries, and that's also good for Kenya. So in a way, and having a normal, good temperature will keep people more healthy as well.
Well, Yako, thank you very much for coming on to the show to talk about PCM, its benefits, and why sustainability is something very important and we need to think about for our future generations, if not for ourselves.
Absolutely.
You're doing great things. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Ingrid, for your time, and it was a pleasure to be here.
So we've come to the end of the show. I hope you had a great time as I did. You can keep the conversation going on our social media pages at Metropole TVK on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I have to leave you right now, but don't change your dial because we have so much more coming your way right here on Metropole TV.